Hello dear students. So today we will start a new topic of biochemistry. That one is ECM. ECM stands for extracellular matrix. It is a part of clinical biochemistry. Now regarding to extracellular matrix, we will see the matters related to this one by one. First of all, it is important to know, or it is important to make the objective of ECM, that is the extracellular matrix. Now one by one we will discuss. As we know, as we are starting anything, then it's very important to give the definition of that particular things. Now you see the objectives. So what are the major objectives of the extracellular matrix? One thing is that I want to tell. What's the meaning of extracellular matrix? The term is cellular. Mean one matrix which is present into the cell, that is the intracellular matrix. Matrix is present within the cell, and one is extracellular matrix. In this particular type of matrix, present in spaces between two cells. So that's why here given the term extracellular matrix. Now objectives of this extracellular matrix are: first one is definition, second, functions of extracellular matrix, third, types or we can say phase of extracellular matrix, fourth, components of extracellular matrix, fifth, metabolism of extracellular matrix, and mainly in metabolism we will see biosynthetic part of the extracellular matrix, abnormalities of the extracellular matrix which will be responsible to cause the disorders, diseases, and along with this we have to also see the therapeutic approaches by targeting the ECM. In future planning there may be the therapeutic, you can say, treatment. And ultimately we will discuss the conclusive summary of the ECM. So you see, these are the important, you can say, objectives of this one by one we have to discuss. I am focusing this particular page. Okay, clear? Now one by one we have to see, we will see, one by one we will see. First, definition. As you know, definition regarding to extracellular matrix, you have to know, you have to have one point, that is the connective tissues. As we know, the tissues are made up of so many cells, and one particular tissue is connective tissues. By name it is clear, the tissues which is responsible for the connection point of view, they are referred as connective tissues. So extracellular matrix are mainly the connective tissues. For example, you can say connective tissues, cartilages, tendons, ligaments, corneal stroma, hyaluronan, etc. and etc. Now we will see the exact definition of the extracellular matrix. As you know, we have so many types of biomolecules. Few are macromolecules, few are micromolecules such as carbohydrate, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, minerals, vitamins, growth factors, etc., etc., and etc. So, extracellular matrix mainly belongs to the proteins, and these are few are a special type of proteins, you can say. So, you see the exact definition of this one. I will focus this one also. Now, whenever you are saying extracellular matrix, then already I have told you it is related to the connective tissues. Now you see the exact definition of this one. What is written? Extracellular matrix is a network of interstitial proteins that constitutes a significant proportion of any tissue. For example, tendons, cartilage, corneal stroma, etc. and etc. So, one term is here interstitial proteins. What type of proteins? Interstitial proteins. So, spaces present between the cells is referred as interstitial space, and the proteins networking of the proteins which is present into the interstitial space, they are responsible to constitute the extracellular matrix. Few importants are tendons, cartilages, corneal stroma, etc. and etc. Now, after definition, we have to see the functions of ECM, and 1 to 6 functions are given here. Act as a space filter, second mechanical support, third is cell proliferation, fourth scaffolding for tissue renewal, fifth establishment of tissue microenvironment, sixth cellular interaction. So one by one we will see it. What do you mean of space filter? Space filter. Space filter mean the space which is present, it is responsible to fill. Mean what type of space? Interstitial space. The space which is present between the cells, that is the interstitial cells space, and it is filled by the extracellular tissues. Your focus is act on a space filter. So, extracellular tissues are responsible to make as a filter form the spaces which is present into the space. That's why it is defined as space filter. Now, second point is mechanical support. Mechanical support, by name it is clear. It is responsible for the support of the cells. How? By cell anchorage, cell migration, and maintenance of the cell polarity. So in this way they are also responsible to make the mechanical support. Third one is here, cell proliferation regulator. So by acting as a depot of, you can say, latent growth factors, binding and is displaying growth factors, act as a signaling through cellular receptors, they are responsible for the cell proliferation also. Cell proliferation regulator mean it will regulate the cell proliferation according to the need of our body. And next is scaffolding for tissue renewal. Scaffolding for tissue renewal. Time to time, in normal process, there may be the disruption of the few tissues, and normally it is fulfilled by the new tissues, and for this purpose these connective tissues also plays a role for the formation of the new tissues. Whenever the disruption of these connective tissues takes place, then it may cause for a disorder. For example, in case of cirrhosis liver, there is ECM disruption. So, in this case, defective tissue regeneration and repair occurs. That is the cause for the cirrhosis of liver or liver cirrhosis. So, scaffolding of tissue renewal is also a very important function of this one. Next is establishment of tissue microenvironment. So, as we know, cell inside and outside there are the environment, and this microenvironment is also established by the electro or you can say ECM extracellular matrix. So it is also responsible to make you can say it is also responsible to make a boundary just like to make the epithelial tissues, basement membrane, etc. and etc. That's why it is also responsible to establish the tissue microenvironment. And last one is cellular interaction. So for the maintenance of the normal tissue structure, it is supposed that these are very, very important. These are very, very important component. Mean extracellular matrix are very important to make the cellular interaction. And after that, so these two objectives, definition and functions, we have completed. Now next is basic forms of ECM. So there is two basic forms. One is interstitial matrix and another is basement membrane. Interstitial matrix and basement membrane is two important, you can say, basic forms of the electrocellular matrix. Now we will see this one is also how the so interstitial space. If you are saying interstitial space, what do you mean of this? Already you have seen the interstitial space. Now we are discussing is about of phases. So important two basic phases are here. Two basic phases are here. And what are those? Interstitial matrix and interstitial matrix and basement membrane. Now, if you are saying interstitial matrix, now remaining portion of this one is, you see here, components of ECM. Components of ECM. So what are the important components of ECM? We will see three groups of proteins. The important component of extracellular matrix belongs to the three groups of proteins, and these are one, fibrous structural proteins. Fibrous structural In particular, these proteins are responsible to make these structures. And these are collagens, elastins, fibrillins. And second is water hydrated gels. Mean such type of proteins combine to water to make a gel like a structure. And these are proteoglycans, hyaluronan. And third one is adhesive glycoproteins and receptors. So adhesive glycoproteins are receptors or the another component of the ECM. They are responsible to make the receptors as well as for the connection of the matters from one to another, such as the fibronectin, laminin, integrin. Integrin, laminin, fibronectin, these are adhesive glycoprotein receptors. So these adhesive elements are responsible to connect the ECM elements one to another cells, from one cell to another cells. And last component of the ECM is water. It is supposed that 65% water present and of the total of the components of ECM. So these 4 points are very important to know is about the components of ECM, that is the fibrous structure proteins, water hydrated gels, adhesive glycoproteins, receptors and water. And after that, one by one we will study the important component of the extracellular matrix with examples such as the collagens. So we will discuss this collagen in next lecture. Thank you very much. Thank you.